Hello friends, welcome back. I'm Beth, here to help you fulfill your potential in meditation. As most of you know, I don't have just one method that I teach to everybody, like one size fits all. Instead, I much prefer to teach people one-on-one. The reason is that you're all different. So please use these videos as a guideline. And if there's anything that isn't quite working for you, anything that doesn't quite fit, then be in touch and I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. Today's video is about the practice of the elements kasinas. And kasina is something that I don't see being taught much in the West, so you might not be familiar with the term. It's actually a word that's really difficult to translate into English. Probably the closest I could think of would be like meditation object, but obviously that doesn't tell you much. So what I'm going to do is get on with just explaining the practice, and hopefully in that way the meaning of the word kasina will become clear. I have actually already made a video on the light kasina. If you haven't watched that yet, I'd suggest that you do that first. The reason is that the structure of the practice for light kasina is very similar to the structure of the practice for the elements kasinas. So if you're already familiar with the light kasina, this video will be easier for you to understand. If you do want to practice one of the elements kasinas, though, then where to start? Well, the first thing to do is to find a perception of one of the elements that you like. Here, the elements that we can work with are earth, water, fire, wind, and space. I'll say those again: earth, water, fire, wind, and space. So let's think of some examples of how we could take perceptions of those. If we wanted to take a perception of the earth, for example, we could clear some ground of all of the rocks and stones, so we just have a nice space of earth in front of us. We could use that as our object of focus. For water, we could use a lake or a river or a waterfall, or even just a bowl full of water. A clear bowl full of water would be enough. For a fire, we could make a little bonfire. We could use a candle flame, any perception of fire that we like. Wind and space are a little more difficult. For the wind kasina, we can use things like the wind through the trees. We can also use the feel of the wind on our skin. And for space, we need anything where we can boundary the space. So it could be the space through an open door, it could be the space between the branches of a tree, anything where we have the perception of space. What we want to do once we've found the perception of the element that we like is we then want to clear it from any obstructions. So for example, if you're doing the fire kasina, then you want to be able to focus on just the part of the fire that is free from maybe any twigs or branches that you're burning. If you're doing a water kasina and you're focusing on the sea, then you want to make sure there's no boats in your view, so that your mind can sink fully into the perception of just that element. Once we have our meditation object ready, then we want to sit in a comfortable position near that object. And as we focus on it with our eyes open, we can note the name of that element. So for example, earth, 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 or water, 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 water. As we sustain our attention with our eyes open on our element, we can allow the perception of everything else to fall away. So we can let go of thoughts about the past and the future. We can let go of any other objects that might be in our peripheral vision and allow our attention to fall deeply into only the perception of that natural element. As we focus in that way for some time, we might notice that with our eyes closed, the perception of that element remains. In other words, our attentions become so absorbed in that element with our eyes open that when we close our eyes, we're still remembering it. When we notice that we can hold our attention on our element even with our eyes closed, then we can continue in that way. So we close our eyes, and as with our eyes open, we continue to note the name of our element. So earth, 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 or water, 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 water. As we note with our eyes closed, we can hold the perception of our element at a comfortable size and a comfortable distance. So we don't want it too near, not too far, not too big, not too small. Comfortable size and comfortable distance to calm our minds as we focus. As we focus with our eyes closed, if our element becomes unstable, we can practice a little while longer with our eyes open. If with our eyes closed, we can focus in a stable way, then we can start expanding our element. As we expand, classically we say we expand in 10 directions. 10 directions here means to the 2 sides, to the front and the back, to the 4 corners, to the up and the down. In other words, like a ball in all directions. When we expand, we also want to set the limit of how far we will expand. So for example, may my earth expand this much in all 10 directions. And then, by the power of our determination, we expand the perception of our kasina in all 10 directions to our determined amount. Once we've expanded our kasina, then we can choose a piece of our element inside the expanded element, hook our attention there, and continue to note. We want to choose a piece again that's a comfortable size and a comfortable distance. So for example, we choose a little piece of earth inside the expanded earth, and we continue to note earth, 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 earth. When our mind settles down, we can then expand further. Maybe now may my kasina expand by this much in all directions. And once expanded, again we choose a piece, comfortable size, a comfortable distance. Hook our attention there and continue to note. Earth, earth, earth. We can continue to expand by stages in this way until we've expanded our element up to infinity in all directions. Once we've expanded our kasina to infinity in all directions, then again we find a piece that's a comfortable size, a comfortable distance. We hook our attention there and we continue to note. Earth, earth, earth. Or it could be water, 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 or whichever element you're working with. When our mind really calms down, we might notice that we can continue to hold our attention on this piece of element within the bigger element without noting. At that time, if that feels possible for you, you can just allow the mind to become silent and continue to hold your attention on your element in silence. It's that piece of element inside the element that is the meditation object that can carry us through to some really deep states of meditation, even through the jhanas. So that's quite a lot of instruction that I've given there on the elements kasinas. What I would suggest is that now you get off your screens, get out there amongst the elements, go and choose one that you like and actually give this practice a go. It's a beautiful, powerful practice that I'd love to have more people practicing actually. So if you're encountering any difficulty, if anything isn't working for you, then be in touch and I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. There is a remainderless ending of all suffering, so let's not waste time. Let's actually do the practice. There's only so much you can learn through watching YouTube videos. There's far much more to be learned actually on the meditation cushion. As most of you know, I do all of my work on a donation basis, so I encourage you to support me either through my website or through Patreon. You can find the information about how to do that just underneath this video. Thank you so much for your support. Wishing you the best with your meditation.